Okay, the final step in setting up your gradebook is to create a new assignment. So you're going to open a gradebook. I'm just going to open my first one, and you'll get this salmon colored notification that says no assignments have been created yet. Please add an assignment to enter the student score. So we're going to add an assignment. Now, because the quarter hasn't started, it might be a little bit different. I'm going to show you what you want to do. So the short name for my assignment is probably going to be, let's just say, um, text-dependent questions. Page 1 through 12. Oh, okay, so that's my first assignment, and it was going to be an in-class assignment that they had to discuss. So it's going to go into participation. This is important. If you don't link it to something, it won't let you move on. It won't let the assignment be created. The most important thing as far as communication with parents is the assigned date. You don't want to put in the due date separate from the assigned date unless there's a big gap in time. What will automatically happen is the assigned date will show up as the due date. It's important that you put the assigned date for purposes of attendance. So if a student is absent with an excused absence and you know that they're able to make that assignment up, then you're going to put it this, you're going to look back at this to see if that's the true date that they were absent on. Okay. If your due date is like, it's like a research paper and you're going to have them start it and work some parts in class and you know the exact due date, you can go ahead and do it that way if you want. But if you don't put in the assigned date, you won't be able to add the assignment. And that is what shows up on the progress report. Possible points. So for this assignment, there was 10 points possible. The important thing for self-contained, no, the important thing for departmentalized is that if you're in, like, this was my first period and my second period is also 8th grade and they're going to do the same thing, you can go ahead and add that here. The important thing for all of us is that if you want to link your standard, and this comes later when you're trying to see how students are doing on specific standards. Oh, it's telling me that I gotta set it on a date kids are actually in school. So I'll put it here. Sorry, because the 15th is the first day of school for kids. So let's say I know that this is going to cover, and I do know that this is going to cover 8.1. So I'm going to choose the standard by going into the subject area, going into my English language. Where is it? Up to the top. Oh, there it is. Common Core. Selecting my grade level. And really, once this starts going, it goes like a lot faster than this. So, grade 8, English language arts. And you hit search. It's going to give you your standards. These are drop downs, so I know it's going to be literature 8.1. So I'm going to keep going until I get to 8.1, and I'm going to select it. And then I'm going to link the standard. Okay, and then when I go back in, I can add my second set of standards if there are two. Now, this is just an example. You may not always have a set of standards that you want to link. So my second standard is going to be reading the 8th grade text that they have to answer the questions on. And then that's all the standards that I have for this text. So I'm going to link standards and return. And those two standards should be linked to this assignment. Why this is important, and you can see that the due date set back to 8/15 here because I told you it will match the assigned date. Why the standard is important is because later when you're trying to track a student's progress, you're going to be able to every standard that you've linked here, you're going to be able to see the progression and the growth from the beginning to the end. If you don't link the standards, you can only do that by looking at your grades. So what I do is I link the standards, and then the kids can get onto their accounts later, and they can kind of create their own graph, monitor their own progress that way. And it really does help in the end when they see the growth that they've had on that standard. And then, of course, also I'm going to save this to the other class that's doing the same thing, and save. And it's taking a second. And then you're going to see all the kids in that class. There they are. There's the assessment, the standard. And notice the little picture that I told you to set earlier when we were in the creating the categories. That little talking guy was my conversation or my participation score. So every time from this point on that you want to add another assignment, you just click on it, creates assignment, just as I did right there. Okay, that's all I have for you today for Elluminate. I will go over a few things about lesson plans and how part of that can be done in Elluminate. But you can go ahead and set your books up, and if there's anything that you need from me, just let me know. Thanks.